Okay, so first of all, thank you all for being here in the middle of the week. We really appreciate your time and taking the effort to learn about what's going. We're glad that we're here to answer your questions. And hopefully, if you guys have any suggestions on things, we can maybe improve the project and make this fruitful for everybody. My name is Patty Benger, and I'm on the community engagement team, and I'm supporting this project. And I first wanted to introduce the project team. But after that, we're going to go over the meeting purpose and the format of what we're going to do. Sorry, I have to remember to talk on the microphone for our recording here. The project background and overview, what you can expect during construction, what the project status is, the timeline, and then we'll just do an open Q&A for any questions that you might have. All the renderings that you saw, the poster boards, are on our website as well. So at the end, we'll have a slide where you can take a picture and visit our website to get a closer look, or if you'd like to look back on it again later. Okay, the delivery team here wanted to introduce first Summer Meese, and Summer is our Chief Operations Officer. Did she step out of the room? Almost like she knew I was going to introduce her. Oh, there she is in the back. So thank you for being here, Summer. Summer's team is the one who operates all of our water tanks, pump stations, and other systems there to make sure that we can deliver water to you. The other person I wanted to introduce was Brian Babcock, and oh, there you are, Brian. And Brian is our System and Field Operations General Manager. On top of that, we do have a ton of employees in here for you. So I hope that you recognize that we know how important this is to you. You live there. You're going to see it every day. You're going to hear us in your neighborhood building these water tanks. So I want you to know that we brought everyone here that we can answer your questions for you. So Brian Gimble is our project manager there with Colorado Springs Utilities. We've got Vincent Livingood, who is our design technical lead. Michael Myers, who is our water and wastewater operations manager, not the serial killer. We've got TJ Sarcomo, our water operations superintendent. And then myself, and I'd also like to introduce Rebecca Kerrigan in the back. Rebecca and I are probably the two people that will talk to you throughout this project. So if you have questions, if you have a concern, if you notice something that feels off, we're the people that you can call. We also have our contractors here, CDM Smith. We have there, go ahead and raise your hands if you're with CDM Smith. They are a design builder. And then we also have our tank manufacturer here as well. So like I said, we're here to try and answer any question that you can come up with so that you can get your answers tonight and not have to follow up later. Although we will do that if we need to. The first thing I wanted to do is to tell you about the meeting format and the purpose of this meeting. Of course, the purpose is to inform all of you about the project and to recognize that this is a voluntary public meeting. The city planning department will determine if we need to do another meeting. This may or may not satisfy their requirements. They weren't able to attend tonight, which is one of many reasons that we're recording the meeting. So we do have a video recorder in the back. So face forward here and ask your questions. If you don't want to be on video, that's okay. But we want to capture everyone's questions and make sure that if your neighbors can attend, that you can direct them to where the video is there where they can watch the meeting later. If city planning decides another meeting is required, you'll get another invitation. We'll have another similar meeting there where we'll follow up there. At the end of the presentation, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions. And this is all, of course, before construction. We're about 90% design yet. So I'll give the timeline a little bit later on, but know that we are here to listen to you. So if something is, everyone hates green or everyone hates brown, whatever that is, please let us know. We are listening. Okay, this photo is from 1964. I know a lot of people have lived in the area a long time, so it'd be interesting to see who has houses that are not showing up on this. But basically, this project is to replace a 109-year-old reservoir. That reservoir was built by Spencer Penrose for the Broadmoor Hotel and was later given to us as an asset that we have been maintaining for over 50 years. That dam reservoir is out of date. It's, of course, aging infrastructure and needs to be fixed. When it started leaking in 2023, we quickly drained that reservoir as a safety precaution and started figuring out what we can do to fix it or replace it and what our best solutions were. The best solution that we found for efficiency, operational capability, longevity, a lot of other reasons here was to replace that reservoir with 2 modern 8.5 million gallon water tanks. Those tanks are going to sit on the floor of the reservoir, so they're not necessarily buried, but they are at a lower elevation. The other thing that we're doing as an improvement on this site is we're adding a stormwater detention pond, which should improve drainage. I know that's been an issue for some of our neighboring customers. And then we are doing landscape restoration as well. This is just a quick site overview here. And I wanted to point out a couple of things where you might see people going in and out. The first thing is our primary access point is along Cheyenne Mountain Zoo Road. So most of the trucks you're going to see are going to come in this way to get to the site. Secondary access site is going to be in this direction here. This is where the detention pond is going to be. And then these hatch marks here, I think there's more on the others. Oh, there it is. And here, that's where we're going to be staging equipment and materials for the project. And then you can see here, this is our fiber hut that was added within the last 2 years. This is Marlin Road South. Yeah. So a couple of benefits of this project. It does replace an aging dam with modern infrastructure. It does lower our cost over time. It reduces our operations and maintenance costs, and it also improves an important part of our water system. It maximizes our storage capacity in that area and prevents water loss from evaporation. We all know we're in a drought, everything's dry. This is one of the ways that we can still provide water and actually protect that water source a little bit more. We're also ensuring reliability with this. We are building 2 tanks, and that will ensure that water service isn't disrupted during maintenance work. So we're able to empty one tank, work on it, make repairs, do maintenance, and then transfer water over to the other one so that we can work on both of them kind of in chronological order, so to speak. Some of the questions I'm trying to answer here that came in through the registration that we wanted to address, one of them was fire mitigation. I think 2 or 3 people mentioned some concerns about fire mitigation and what this project is going to do. So the Penrose Reservoir, which is down here at the bottom, it's just really not ideal for helicopters and buckets. There's a lot of infrastructure around, there's vegetation around, there's power lines, and so it wasn't really the best place anyway. Although it was available, it just wasn't ideal. We have 2 other reservoirs that are in a better position, South Suburban and Gold Camp, which are farther north. Those do provide an opportunity, should that be needed, for access for water sources. We also have 2 things that we're working hard on. We have the wildfire mitigation plan and the forest management program. The wildfire mitigation plan is a plan where we protect our infrastructure from fire, things like trimming the trees around power lines so they don't catch fire, making sure that we're maintaining all of our assets as much as we can. Tank details. Bear with me on this picture. This was the best picture we had about the height to really visualize what you used to see and what you're going to see now. So the current dam crest elevation is 6,564 feet. The proposed tank elevation is 6,596 feet. Now those are from worst to worst. We are building it in the hillside there, so this will not be consistent height difference all the way around the reservoir. And I'll have some more pictures to show you how that's illustrated there. The roof appurtenances will be strategically placed just for access. It's not going to be in the very center of that dome. It's going to be a little bit offset, which will also change the elevation. And the bury depths, as I mentioned, will be varying around the perimeter. The tank diameters are going to be 204 feet. And on the outside, there'll be an aluminum exterior railing at the roof hatches. And again, this is not a full tiara, so to speak. It's just around a partial circumference just around our roof access. So it won't be a shining aluminum there for the entire world to see there, just in the areas that we need it to be for safety. Okay, now I have a pop quiz for you. Who likes Italian food? Not very many people? Okay, I love Italian food. And one of my favorite things about Italian food is the color oregano, which is what our tank proposed color is. And we do have a sheet. Actually, could we go ahead and just pass that color swath around so you can kind of see what it would look like there? The tanks that you're seeing here are not an oregano. This was an early design here that we did as part of the elevation study. I'm sorry. A little bit on the property? No. Yeah, this one blends in a lot better to other ones. We are building another tank in a similar area by Austin Bluffs open space, same color so that it blends in with the surrounding area. This is the aerial view there. So east elevation, Marlin Road is on the right. So as Superman flies over it, this is what they'll see. Kind of looks like a bikini top, not by design. But I wanted to point out the appurtenances. Those were the things I talked about for roof access. Rather than directly on top, those are offset intentionally to minimize the visual impacts for you. I'm going to get you a microphone so that we can get your question recorded. I'm sorry. Over here.
5 days a week. And I'm wondering, as you go up Marland on the left there, they came in and cut a bunch of very old pine trees down. The street is much hotter. The whole street doesn't have the mood it used to. I understand to do some work or some fire mitigation you had to, but are you planning on reforesting any of the areas that you're going to be having traffic go up and down?
Yeah, I do have a landscape slide. If you'll just give me just a few minutes, we can address that there. And if it's not clear to you when we have that, please speak up again and I'll show you and answer what we need to do.
Okay, and the other is there's a big pipe that was on the street.
Yes.
And then they covered it, and then they put cement barriers, and then they were reminded that's not attractive. Let's do something less invasive. Is that pipe going to be gone?
That pipe will be gone when the work is complete. That pipe is basically serving the same function that the dam did. So we needed to still supply water, and that's what that's doing in the interim when we're building these two tanks. Once the tanks are built, those pipelines will be removed.
I personally have just noticed there's a lot less animal traffic through there. It's sort of a corridor. They really couldn't go to their left or right, and there's just fewer animals in there. So I just thought if you reforest it a little bit, which I know kind of goes against fire mitigation, but I think there's a lot of us that use it for walking our dogs, exercising ourselves. A lot of bikers use it as a hill to race down. And those of us that use it love it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a beautiful area. I've walked it a couple of times. So thank you for bringing that up. When we get to that landscape slide, if it doesn't answer your questions, we'll touch back on that again.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Yes.
Oh, thanks. When you were talking about the water source, does that water service actual CSU customers, or is that Broadmoor water?
Both. The Broadmoor is our customer. So one of the things is that when we took over that,
as far as residents in the area,
does not serve residents. This is a raw water reservoir, and we're putting raw water tanks. It's untreated water, so it can only be used where it is now. It could only be used for irrigation.
Right. Okay.
Otherwise, we'd have to move it to a treatment plant and then put it back in our system that way. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Another one. Hold on.
Question, how many other sites did you study before you decided to put it at this location?
This was the only site because that's where the water was needed. We already own this asset. We are protecting our asset.
I want to circle back to your question and kind of answer. So it is a raw water tank site. So essentially that's what the water was for. But it does not mean that we can't carry this water to a distribution area. So we would take it to the Tolleson treatment plant, which sits up at Mesa. And so that water would move to that location. Currently, as it sits, we're only bringing it through that pipeline because right now we need to continue that flow for that customer. But our long-term plan is to utilize this water in the rest of our distribution system. To Patty's point, we don't treat at source. We would move that to the treatment plant. And at that point, we would just put it in distribution system for the rest of the customers. Hopefully that answers your question. It's not a single point of water just for one customer. It can be used in the rest of our portfolio. Yep.
Kind of like it was for residents.
One other
Thanks, Mike.
comment based on what some people have talked about. You have absolutely no credibility on the way you've handled that water line with the Broadmoor. All the promises, all the delays, all the damage you've done to cut down those 100-year-old trees. It's insulting. No individual would get away with that.
I guess I'm unsure what water line to the Broadmoor you're talking about.
The big, well, the black pipe.
Okay.
Yeah, and prior to installing that pipe.
Sure.
There were a lot of trees. There was really
Mhm.
apparently no plan, so that everything was cut down and left. So.
Yeah.
you know,
There was a plan. It just became, and feel free to jump in here, Mike. It was not the most efficient plan. It was not the most value plan for our ratepayer dollars. And so as we started investigating what it would take to fix that, it was clear that was not the solution.
Let me expand on that a little bit more. So she talked a little bit about evaporation. That is a concern for us as a utility, but most importantly, when we're spending money on infrastructure, we want to make sure it lasts for a while. So we could make a small repair and it could last for a couple of years. Long term, it's in our best interest to cover that. So put the tanks in there, we lessen the load for evaporation, but more importantly, we put an asset in place that's not 100 years old. We're not just band-aiding it. We're trying to be good stewards of your money and ensure we're putting a piece of infrastructure in place that's going to last for 50 plus. That's our goal here. So we want to be able to get that water in, actually have it in a place where we don't have any potential for outside contaminants or anything like that. And then again, we'll use that in our portfolio as we move it into the distribution.
Can I ask one more question?
Absolutely.
Sorry to hog the show here, but is it like a natural spring under there that was feeding that reservoir? Like, where's this water coming from?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the water comes from the Rosemont Reservoir. So we're coming off of a local system. We collect up near the south slope of Pikes Peak. That basin up there, we pipe it down. So there's a pipeline that comes down like Gold Camp Road. And if you ever driven up Gold Camp, you'll see a pipeline up off the side of the hill that has like wooden stakes holding up. That's actually the pipeline. So we bring that water down to this location. It was built by many years ago. And the idea about that is using our local water rights so that we're being a good steward of your water. Again, it's a good source. It's a first use source. We bring that in. Right now, currently, we have several customers that we could send that to. If we have those tanks, we can actually bring it up to our treatment plant.
So you'll transport this water that's being stored.
Yep.
So how do you transport that? Is
our
that like
goal
big
is-
trucks?
Nope.
Big trucks, or how does that get transported?
Pipelines and pump
Pipelines?
stations. So essentially, we'll bring it down to that location. We'll move it in another pipeline, and then from that point, we'll find a pump station and put it in. Currently, we have a pump station down below. We can move that. Much like the previous slide where she showed South Suburban Reservoir and Gold Camp, that water comes from the same source, comes down through creeks and diversions. We store it, and then we put it into a pump station and pumping it to the treatment plant.
Couple more slides.
Sure.
Is that, yeah, help us understand what we're all going to be looking at, or what we're going to see, and what we're going to hear.
Oh, I think we're going to let her go through her
all right.
presentation.
Okay.
That way we can make sure that you get to see the whole thing. I promise I'll stick around and answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Okay. Well, we're going to try and get through this because I suspect that some of your questions that are on the tip of your tongue might be answered. So as soon as we do that, then we'll open it up to more questions. Thank you for being so engaged. I do appreciate that. Okay, we talked about the elevation here, or the viewpoint here. This is the aerial view, and Marlin Road South is here on your right. Next view is from the northeast elevation. This is the view from Marlin Road. This is more realistic of what you will see walking on Marlin Road. You can see that just the tops of the tanks there, and that's, again, because it's going to be within the hillside perimeter. So it will be higher in spots and lower in spots. So depending on your viewpoint, you're going to see different parts of the tank. There's more views there, yeah. This is the southeast elevation aerial view again. And the west elevation aerial view. This is a good look at those roof hatches that I mentioned, and you can see the staircase there. Those staircases will be protected, and we'll have a railing around the roof hatches rather than the full perimeter of the tank. Okay, this is proposed landscaping. I know this is a hot topic for many of you because of the area and the importance of the trees in the area and walking your dogs. It is a beautiful area here. It's not very detailed that you can see here, so I just wanted to point out that we do have some additional excavation that we're going to be doing on the floor of the reservoir, so to speak. And we have trees planned at different elevations going up the slope. So it won't be one line of trees. It'll be a line of trees and a little bit higher, more trees, and a little bit higher, more trees, so to speak. And so this rendering here, this is Marlin Road South. And this side over here is Cheyenne Mountain Zoo Road. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the presentation. I'm going to leave this up here so you can kind of think about what questions you might have based on that. Important to note too, whatever we are proposing has not been approved yet. This is all still pending city development plan review. So know that things might change from here, and we'll update our website. We'll keep you all updated. But this is just what the proposal is at this point. Some of the things we did, we know that fire mitigation is really important to you, but there are a couple of other steps that I wanted to highlight in this area. Someone else mentioned hillside overlay and how tall tanks could be in that area. We are zoned public facility in that area, so there's not technically height maximum that is for that because we're a public facility providing public services to our community. However, we are able to mitigate, which is one of the reasons we are digging down a little bit there. So we are mitigating that hillside overlay there. And while we are exceeding if it was a skyscraper or a retail building or a restaurant or a house, it's only by about 15 to 18 feet. So we were able to keep the size of the tank for what we needed to serve our community within about, again, 15 to 18 feet of what the maximum height would be. And again, that hillside overlay and the way it's built in is not going to be consistent throughout because it's not on a flat surface. The other thing I wanted to talk about is that we know this is on top of mind for you all. It is the wildland-urban interface. Wildland-urban interface is designated by Colorado Springs Fire Department and other fire districts. And so as part of this, vegetation management is very important. What types of trees that we can replant, where they go, this is all going to be covered here as part of the review. We also done a wildlife study. We don't want to take down trees or something that might have a bird's nest in it, for instance. We have found deer, rabbit, wild turkey, and of course birds. But nothing is in the critical habitat. So that was part of the studies that we've seen. You all are probably thinking, well, there's a lot more. Lots of other kind of animals. That's just what we saw during the study period. And geologic. This is a landslide area, susceptibility zone. Landslide susceptibility zone, I think is what the city calls it there. So we recognize that there were some challenges here, and this is all being mitigated by design. And I'll show you an elevation of how we're fixing that and really making this even safer than it was as a dam. This one's kind of hard to see here. I wanted to illustrate this part just very briefly to show you about the hillside overlay and talk about how these tanks are kind of built in and there's not a consistent line. This very top light dotted line, that's the hillside overlay maximum height. So you can see at some points right here, it's showing more, but over here, it's less. So again, this is the west elevation, and you can see that throughout here, the east elevation, it looks like it's, you know, there's a tiny little spot here where it's just exceeding that a little bit beyond what they would typically do, again, for a restaurant or a retail store. Finished ground here is what this bottom part here is. And then I have two more visions here. North elevations on the top and the south elevations on the bottom. And again, that really thin, light dotted line is that hillside overlay maximum building height. I added these today because I heard you. By the way, someone had asked about what that height is, and we felt like this was the best way to show what that height is and where we're going to be landing. This elevation here, it looks like a little gobbledygook, but it's not. These are, I want to look at my notes here. I want to say it's 25 foot deep. Yeah, about 25 foot deep. This is the piers of how we are mitigating that geological hazard in the area. The piers are going to be 25 foot deep I don't remember actually I have it here. Give me 1 second here. There we go. 50-foot deep piers, 24 feet wide. Those are the dimensions. I'm glad I checked. 24 inches. A lot of piers, that makes a lot more sense. See why I brought the smart people here? So 24 inches, 50 feet deep. And that's how we're ensuring that the design of this is actually an improvement over what was existing there. Okay, important stuff. What to expect. I mentioned where the staging of equipment, vehicles, and materials were on the site map that I showed you. We have no intention of parking any vehicles on the side of the street or storing materials. That site is big enough where we believe that we can do all of that on site. Should that change, we'll let you know because we are still in the middle of this design. We haven't started construction yet, but we believe we have plenty of room to get that all on site. So you shouldn't see any equipment on the side of the road there. Dust mitigation, it does get a little dusty over there. So we'll be using typical dust mitigation there. There's access to our finished water system there, so we can wet down the dust there to mitigate that. So keep that as a minimum. No expected water service disruptions. And the work hours are pretty important to you guys, I would assume. Work hours are typically Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. People will start arriving on the site before that, but we're not going to start any work that would create noise until 7 a.m. And I say that with a caveat that occasional early morning work and or Saturday work might be needed. If the project starts to fall behind schedule and we need to get that completion, we may need to add some Saturdays. If the weather's bad and we get a delay, we'll let you know. The other thing is about this project, it is a precast concrete tank, 2 of them. So that does mean that there are some spots that are temperature critical construction methodologies where if the temperature is above a certain degree, we may need to start early in the morning. An example, again, we're building another tank somewhere else. We had to start at 5 in the morning because the forecast had certain temperatures, but it was only for 1 day. It wasn't for weeks at a time. And those are things that we can identify early in and let you guys know so that you can plan for that. But I don't want to set the expectation that we're only working Monday through Friday ever. There will be some occasions where we're working outside of those hours. The traffic route, again, I mentioned that we're intending on using the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo Road here to access the site. Secondary site, should something happen, I'm trying to think of any particular circumstances where we would need access on South Marlin Road. And I can't think of anything, but know that that is a minor possibility. Is it? Sorry. Can you repeat your question? We are recording it, so I want to make sure.
Will you be closing the bottom part of Marlin Road South where it hits South Club Drive?
We are not planning on closing any roads or lanes at all. This is just the pattern of traffic travel that you'll see.
Okay.
Okay?
I would like to have it closed.
So our drivers are required to follow posted speed limits and other site rules like litter and where they can park and those kinds of things. Track pads will be used to minimize any mud or sediment from reaching the roads. If it comes down and we do see a lot of dirt on the road, we've got ways to change that and mitigate it and clean it up. I know that's been an issue a couple of times on South Marlin Road, and we're able to clean that up. So if you see that, please let me know because we can fix that. So again, most access will come this way. This is the secondary, should it be needed. Okay, project status. I mentioned that the design is about 90% done right now. We are going to be applying for dam decommissioning by the state of Colorado, the safety office. Then we'll have a development plan that is submitted to the city in the next couple of weeks. And we'll also have building and right-of-way permits. Lots of other things that also have to be done as part of this project, but these are the ones that may trigger your notice. You might get something in the mail from the city that says you're within so many feet of this project. Do you know about it? And that's where I want to make sure that you have a place to get all your questions answered. Certainly, give us comments and concerns and things like that ahead of time. But you may hear from the city soliciting comments about this. I'll be putting these online tomorrow. The renderings are already on the website, but my slide will be added to it tomorrow. Okay, so timeline, mobilization. We're doing a little bit of work at the end of this year in the fall. Construction will really begin once all that permitting and things go through. December, construction is expected December of 2028. We're going to start doing our tank testing. Should everything go as planned, then we'll start doing the landscaping the following spring, so spring of 2029. So it is about a 2.5-year project if you consider all of it. Obviously, the construction of the tank will be the most intrusive as our neighbors. Once the tank is built and we're doing the detention pond and some of the other things, you'll see a lot less of it, but we still have things to do. Okay, this slide here, I wanted to make sure that you all knew. The way I contact you is using the account information that you have on your csu.org account. So if you have not updated since you retired 20 years ago and you might have your work number there, we'd love for you to log in and update that. You can also opt into text messages and also provide an email address. Those are the way I'll be sending out project updates. We'll have on our website too, but if we have direct messages about an impact, that early morning work, that Saturday work that might have to happen at some point, that's how we're going to let you know directly. The website is there. Phone number and the email address, those go to our team. So Rebecca and I will be receiving those messages and calling you. We typically respond within 24 hours. Usually it's a lot less, but that's kind of our general rule of thumb, is to try and get an answer, a response for you. If it's something urgent, water pouring out of a pipeline, certainly call our emergency number and our customer service. That's a great question. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the questions real quick. Sure, yeah. So the question was, when the tanks are operating and up and running, will they make sound? They will make some. But because of where that site is situated, we're not expecting a lot of noise. It's not, tanks generally, when the water comes in there, I'm getting the no.
You may hear equipment coming in and out as our operators are doing normal maintenance, but what you hear today is what you should hear.
It's what I'm already hearing.
Correct. No, we're not going to have an external pump at the site. The only time we would is if we have to do some type of external pumping, but again, we would notify you if there was that type of emergency. No.
Yeah, tanks are relatively quiet. Even our new pump stations are relatively quiet because we're able to design it that way to minimize disruption.
I have a quick question with regard to the equipment, getting the tanks there and the volume of, heavy duty tractors and trucks and construction guys. I'm assuming that, there'll be busy traffic on the Zoo Road, but also on Marlin Road South, where the young lady over here just mentioned earlier about the volume of pedestrian traffic on Marlin Road South. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the only reason we would use Marlin Road South would be if for some reason what we needed to do we could not access using Cheyenne Mountain. Marlin Road South is our backup plan. Cheyenne Mountain Zoo Road is our primary access point. And there will be trucks, construction trucks and vehicles going on there. And the days where I send out a message about early work notice, where we're pouring the tanks or we're doing the foundation that are temperature critical, we will have lines of trucks. They won't be idling, but it'll be constant for that day. And that'll be part of my messages to let you know. Typically 1 to 2 days at a time is that event. So when they're doing the floor, it might be 1 or 2 days that there's heavy traffic. When they're doing the walls, it may be 1 to 2 days.
We've had problems in the past with traffic from the Broadmoor Zoo. Are you going to be coordinating traffic with the zoo on a weekend? Because it gets really jammed up and it's a real problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Our plan is not to work on the weekend unless we have to. And if we do, it would just be Saturdays. We'll watch out for those events, especially that the zoo has, where they have additional traffic. I know that's been a problem for you all in South Marland.
A question on the construction side. Are you going to keep all the dirt you excavate on site, or are you going to haul that out?
We are reusing it, so we're doing in situ. I'm going to back away from that a little bit. So we are going to be reusing the materials that we're able to and the site itself. Anything else to add? Perfect, okay. Before the next question, you want to help me out? Perfect, I love that, I need help. Okay, anything else for you? We have another question there. We have coordinated with the zoo in the fact that we are notified of the work.
Sure.
They're one of our neighbors. We have coordinated with
Understand.
the Broadmoor, the zoo, and the El Paso County Cooking Club.
And I guess my question really has to do with the access point to the zoo. It does get busy there besides weekends. It's not a real wide road. There is a turn lane on it. I could see that being a potential problem. You know, it's one thing to talk about it, but nothing to live through it day to day to day.
Sure. Yeah.
So I guess that's my concern.
We do have a strategic account manager that is their direct line to utilities. So as that starts to evolve, it starts to become a problem. We have two ways to access that site. So as we need to readjust that, we might.
Sure, and I guess speaking of the access point, I know it's Zoo Road, I realize that. There's also a point where Zoo Road meets Cheyenne Mountain Boulevard between the golf courses. How are you coming up to Zoo Road?
I'm not as familiar with what the actual names are in that area.
If you
in
want to
general.
put this slide back up, I can show
Okay.
you. Yeah, exactly.
So the main access point off of Lake coming all the way.
Yeah, Cheyenne Mountain Zoo Road is right there, no problem. If you
Correct.
go back down, you see where West Cheyenne Mountain Boulevard comes in. Is that how you plan to come up? Or do you plan to come up Marlin Road South and then get on Cheyenne Mountain Zoo Road?
Currently, the main plan is off of Cheyenne Mountain,
Cheyenne Mountain Boulevard?
coming off of Boulevard.
Got it. Okay, that's the plan.
Yep.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, we understand the whole general area is a little tight coming into there. You know.
Okay. It's, let me think, El Pomar and Penrose Boulevard are pretty wide roads compared to Cheyenne Mountain Boulevard. And, you know, I don't know, just something for you all to consider.
Definitely, we take all that into consideration. A lot of we'll be working with our general contractor for all our haul routes coming up under the site. And if there's other areas that seem to work better than not, we will take any comments and try to do our best to implement that.
We don't want to make it any harder than we have to for anybody. So as we start getting a little bit further, I could develop a traffic map and show you what the intended traffic route is. And again, know that we're flexible, and if there's a different or better solution that we're able to do, then we'll do it.
So one thing worth keeping in mind, every morning they're going to mobilize. All the crew is going to come on site to perform the work, and they're going to stay on site for most of the day and then leave at the end of the day. So it's generally not constant string of traffic all day long. It's early morning and it's at the end of the day. I was just talking to the tank company. When they're pouring concrete, and especially the floor for the tank, it'll be kind of a long string of concrete trucks. That's going to be about 2 weeks out of this whole 2-year construction time. So you should expect on a normal day, they're driving in, everybody's driving in the morning to start the day, they're leaving at the end of the day. Those are the heavy traffic times. On Marlin, you're not going to see constant traffic because everybody will be on site already. The other thing worth mentioning is we will have an approved traffic plan through the city. So the city will kind of help us dictate everything we're talking about here, how we're accessing the site, especially with the larger equipment.
So will we have more than one person to contact? Is it going to be you, and then it'll trickle down to other people if we have questions along the way?
Yeah, there are currently 6 members on my team, and there's a 7th joining us Monday of next week. So again, within the non-super urgent calls, that's the way to go.
Okay.
I can provide, I would just say call our dispatch team again if something is urgent, something that needs attention right away and not just a question or something that we can follow up with you later. But the whole team gets these email messages, the whole team gets those voicemails. And if I'm on vacation and because I won the lottery and Rebecca's like, oh, I don't want to be here today, there's too much, then I still have other people on the team that will get those messages, get the right answers, and call you back or email you back.
Okay. Because as you were showing your slides, I came up with another question about the trees, and I feel like other people's questions about the traffic are much more important. But I noticed you showed a rendering. That rendering shows trees up near the height of that slope, not down by the road. When you go to the photograph of the existing, all the trees, keep going, it's an aerial view. It's almost at the end. Keep going. Keep going.
I think I might be going the wrong way.
There.
Oh, okay.
There, that one. See where the trees are? They're all down by the road. And those are gone. There's a section of those where they just came in and did scorched earth. They're just gone. And I think some of us would lobby for that part to have some trees back. The scrub oak is growing back amazingly quick, but the trees are gone. And so that's what provides shade for all of us that walk, the guys that ride bikes. The other day I was going down the hill, crisscrossing Marlin to stay in the shade, and a guy was coming up on his bike and he was doing the same thing, and we didn't know to be mad or laugh because we were dodging the sun.
So as part of our development plan, we have a landscape plan that we will implement. We will have some flexibility as far as maybe some of the quantity of trees, location of trees. We're open to consideration on that. Our management above me has committed to that as well. We're willing to do what we need to do to make it right out there and get the trees placed strategically.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the short answer is we're listening. We hear you. We know it's a big concern, and no final decisions have been made. We know it's a big concern for the folks that live on Marlin Road and the people that travel in there. So we definitely are hearing you. Some of that was done for fire mitigation, and that may not be able to be replaced the same way it was, even if we wanted to. So we'll keep in touch with that once we have final decisions, and I'll keep that updated.
I have a quick question with regard to the resort community up by the zoo. The zoo road is their main access in and out to their home. And, I just wonder, and I question with regard to just residential traffic getting back and forth to their home, plus your daily zoo traffic, then you add in, significant construction trucks and concrete trucks. Hold on a minute. And then if there was ever an issue up there, one of the big risks with regard to fire is getting people off of that mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And, if a lot of this work is going to be done next summer, potentially, where you've got a lot of large trucks and everything, I just hope that the city really takes this into consideration, because you could have gridlock up there in about a second, and or issues with getting to, emergency vehicles up there, Pine Terrace, that general area there. There's a lot of, retirees in that area. And we had an issue with the zoo one day where their computer system went, and we had backed up traffic on Marlin Road South, on the zoo, and our neighbors couldn't get to their home for hours. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that is a concern, and that's, part of the process with the city. And Kari, I know that you're one of the closest residents, so you'll probably get a solicitation postcard from the city, and that's a good place to put your comments on things that they approve, like traffic plans. Maybe note that that's one of your concerns there. Not that you can't tell us those concerns, but ultimately the city is the one that has the control over our traffic plan.
So, you talked that most of the water goes to the Broadmoor Resort, right? Or most to all, correct?
Currently, the use of that water is the Broadmoor.
Yes. And you said you can divert it to other customers?
Yes.
And what is defined to you guys by customers?
Well, at first, anyone in our city limits would be a customer, and then we have a few little areas outside of that where we have agreements to provide water. There's
Okay.
not a lot of places, but generally citizens in Colorado Springs.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to know that. And how much is this all going to cost? And is it funded by any private influence, like the Broadmoor? And how much of it is all paid by the public in taxes?
Yeah, we are 100% ratepayer funded organization. So anything we do always comes from ratepayers. This particular project has been recognized for several years, and it is a part of our 5-year rate case. It is something that's been planned as a capital project. And so I can't pinpoint that this is going to cost each customer X amount of dollars because it's part of a larger system-wide budget, but there's no additional expected cost for this as a customer. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so no
Okay.
rate pays, no utility increases other than the ones already.
Not as
put
a
in
result
place.
of this project.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Let's see. But how much does this cost to build?
About 54 million.
Right.
And it's going to be budgeted and done over several years. That's one of the reasons we're starting here in the fall. We'll have a little bit of money spent in the fall, and then the majority will be in 27 and 28.
Okay. And you said that there was some type of pond at the end of the reserves that go before it leaves, the reservoirs. And is that open? Like, can the nature maybe take a drink? Birds,
Wildlife that can get it in our fence absolutely could take a drink when it's full. But the purpose of a stormwater detention pond is to prevent drainage from going downhill. So
Right.
it will collect sometimes. A lot of times it'll be dry.
Okay, I see. Right, because I just had a little concern because this is replacing the open dam, which has water, and I haven't been there up recently, but there's a lot of birds, a lot of wildlife, a lot of,
Sure.
birds and stuff, and who doesn't like birds? So I just wouldn't want that to change their location, move them somewhere, to get water somewhere else.
Yeah,
Right.
and the drought's been very hard on wildlife, I know,
Right.
especially in Colorado. So we're kind of dependent on rain for that to
Right.
fill it up. But the reservoir would have been very similar where those levels would change with rain versus when we fill it and when we need it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Well, whatever you do to relocate the wild turkeys would be fabulous. So,
But they're so cute when they're babies.
right,
When they grow up, right?
right. Speaking of the BRC, though, I don't notice anybody from the BRC here. Do they get notification about this? Because they're going to see it way more than we are.
Yeah, I notified everybody in a 1-mile radius
Okay.
of the site. So
Right, Donna?
yeah. Yeah, we're a public entity, so we welcome anyone that wants to come. I invited everyone in that 1-mile radius there, and it's been on our website and such. We'll have, additional posts. So as this moves along, if you have friends or family in the BRC and they become concerned, definitely direct them to our website, to this meeting recording, and then they can follow up with us if they have more questions.
Yeah, regarding communication, you mentioned that we could go on to call a phone number or your website to update our contact info. Then will you be calling, texting, emailing us? How do you intend to keep us informed?
Yeah, depending on the impact of what's happening. Email is the light touch, right? You can get it whenever you want. If it comes in at 2 a.m., it's not going to bother you. So progress updates and notifications of early work hours, anything that's changing on the site, photos that I want to share with you, those will all come by email. I also will be updating our website, but if it's something that is important, like a Saturday early work time, we're going to give you a text message and an IVR. Text message is what we try first because it's least disruptive to people. Phone calls happens if the text message fails. So you'll get always an email and at least a text message or phone call.
And what do you anticipate to be the cadence or the frequency of the communication?
Yeah, with the email, it'll be when there's milestones on the project. You know, it might be that, hey, we heard you and our landscaping plan has changed. Check out our website, here's a link. As the project moves on, when we do things like pouring the floor, the foundation of the tanks, that'll be early work notice, that'll be extra traffic. Those are things I wanna make sure that you know about. In between there, it'll just be as things happen. But I'm always, if you're just curious, like what's going on? I haven't seen you guys work in a month, or, you know, I noticed this and I just was curious, definitely reach out to us.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So right outside is Cheyenne Mountain Boulevard. School's going on and they get out. They don't park really well out there. A truck would not get up Cheyenne Mountain Boulevard if it was during that time. Where do they get on Cheyenne Mountain Boulevard from? I-25?
Ideally, yes. The main coming off of Lake Street, coming off of from
Yeah.
25 going
Yeah,
up.
it's right out here.
Correct. So these are the kind of considerations we're glad you bring to the table to help us better understand what you guys see on a day-to-day basis. If we're better able to understand that, we can work to make it our trucks, haul routes, everything a little bit more efficient. If there's specific times as well that are better than not too.
Yeah, and keep in mind, while the most traffic will be 7 a.m. and 5:30, so the morning will probably be the more issue where there's more people on the road there. But we do have our contractor with us here today, so they're hearing what you say too. We know this is a consideration, and when we get that traffic map finalized, then we'll share that. And you know, certainly if that's a horrible idea, I've lived here for 30 years, you don't know what you're doing, please tell me, and we'll see what we can do.
Just so you know, trying to get those really big vehicles around those traffic circles is going to be pretty challenging.
It will be, yes. We're experiencing a similar thing on that other tank that we're building at the same time. There's some roundabouts that are challenging. But unfortunately, there's, you know, construction is, you don't really have a lot of choice with the equipment that you use.
Yeah, just want to bring it to your attention real quick.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate
cut me
that.
off. Go ahead. No.
Okay. Sure. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
About how many contractors do you think would be up there roughly on a daily basis once you start getting to heavy construction?
Are you thinking about how many vehicles? How many
yeah.
people?
Yeah, people, vehicles.
So in general, when we start, our general contractor will be up there doing a majority of the initial work. You could probably anticipate maybe 10, 15, upwards of 20 guys. As we get moving closer towards constructing the tank, we'll be having a large drilled pier rig up there that'll bring on some more people. We could reach up to 50 guys during any given day. Our tank subcontractor is
Would
going
it
to
be in
bring
individual cars, each 50, or were they coming in on, vans or something?
There's a possibility we'll have a lot of vehicles on site, and one of the things we'll be trying to work on is making sure people are trying to carpool to site. If there's off-site parking elsewhere where we can try to minimize on-site traffic going up the roads.
Are you the contractor?
I am a project manager for Colorado Springs Utilities.
Okay, who's the contractor? Hey, how are you? So big request, only because, whenever there's contractors that have been going up to the zoo or they're doing work on the, golf course, very often when we're out walking or you have cyclists, we'll just go like this just to slow down, and they'll speed up, they'll flip us off. And I would just ask that, if we're going to have 100, potentially 50 to 100 new cars on any of these roads, because we walk on Cheyenne Mountain Boulevard, it's a residential area, and somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to get killed because of the speed, and they'll fly down Marlin Road South, they'll fly down the Zoo Road, go around that curve, and I mean, I see them, I'm out really early running, and, I've got flashlights around just to make sure, but it's a real concern, and I would just beg you to just make sure every week you mention to this new crew or new guys that are coming on site to slow it down, because you will lose your business.
I was up there a couple weeks ago, right down there on Marlin, and we do understand that area. We saw people driving really fast, bikers going really fast.
There's wildlife, and there's kids, and there's
Must be me.
cyclists, so
Sorry.
this is a plea.
Yeah, we do understand that's going to be a sensitive area down there, and we do plan to do what we can to try to slow people down during our working time out there, and anytime we're out there.
And I've said this before, Kari, I know you're not shy, so as you see things, let us know. I mean, this isn't something that you have to just live with and mutter under your breath. Certainly let us know if this is something that we need to adjust and change and remind. But we do have pre-construction meetings. We do have these types of reminders already planned for when that construction starts. So if things start to slip, please do let us know, though. Okay. Yes, Bob.
I have a question. Can you go back to that elevation photo with the east and west views? Oh, yep. No. You went past it.
Oh, with the hillside. Okay.
There you go. So the east, is that looking from the east or towards the east?
Yeah, is it toward the east or from?
This one would be if you were from the east looking at the tanks, the east
Going-
elevation.
Okay.
How high is that? From Marlin.
So, yeah, you said the dotted lines, right, is where the tanks are visible? And that's from the east?
So that's looking up at the zoo?
From the east.
From like South Club
Looking
Drive.
to the west, it's the east elevation. If you were,
Oh, looking from
if
the
you were,
west.
if you were at Marlin Road and you rose up and looked straight at the tanks, that's where you would be from that bottom.
Right, so we're on Marlin Road South, we'll be looking at what's called the west elevation
be
then,
the
right?
top.
The top one.
The top.
And keep in mind, this isn't what you see. This is the elevation height from the
Right.
ground to what it is. So
Right.
keep in mind that the renderings really give you a better idea of what you're going to look at, what you're going to see.
Well, I saw you in one video.
So that's more realistic of what you're going to see.
Okay. So the one slide in the very beginning showed a 30 feet difference between the top ridge and the top of the tank, right? Has anyone done the math as far as going back on the Marlin Road South as you're on Marlin Road South looking at Cheyenne Mountain? How far away do you need to be to see the top of the tanks or see the tanks? It's a trig problem. Because you're going down elevation, you're going farther away.
You're really good at math, aren't you?
I'm pretty good, yeah.
I don't know how we can answer that. I mean, you take two steps. It's winter and the trees are bare.
Well, yeah, the
Spring and the trees are more
worst
full.
case scenario. That's what I'm looking at. So if you're on
I'm
Marlin
looking
Road
to see if
South,
our contractors have any thoughts on how they can best answer that.
approximately where on Marlin Road South would you be at to see, say, tanks? As you get closer, obviously it's going to be more hidden because you're getting close to the hillside, but it's the farther away you are, the easier it is going to be able to see them, right? But how? So
it sounds like the request is to determine a few additional view angles and from a few other points on Marlin Road, like what the view would look like from those angles.
Yep.
Okay, I think that's something we could help with.
Well,
Yep, I'm familiar with, Bob and Kari's house, but I'll show the viewpoint for, absolutely.
So these elevations, how does that compare to what happened in Mountain Shadows? Was that 30 feet there, the Mountain Shadows tank?
Do you mean the Wilson water tank?
Yeah, whatever it was up in Mountain Shadows that suddenly people woke up one day and said, wow, that's a lot higher. Because I'm with you, 30
Right.
feet is not small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was built next to an existing tank on a flat area. So the differences are quite a bit with the hillside, and it was a behind area up against a mountain. But if you're looking at it this way, you see some water tanks. Yeah, so it's hard to see what the elevation differences is. The height of, was it 45 feet? I'm not 100% sure of the height of that tank. But again, that's not buried in the hillside. It's not on the bottom of a reservoir floor. So it's hard to compare. It's like apples and oranges. Real quick for our contractors here. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bob and Kari. You guys are somewhere like right around here?
Yep.
Is that about, yeah.
About right there, yeah.
Yeah, so a little bit farther southeast is where they're looking for a rendering or more information of what they'll see.
I would hate to have you dig and have these, they're enormous tanks. They're huge. They're like flying saucers. That's what it looks like. And if you had buried them, what I hate to have happen is like, oh, if you buried it 5 feet deeper, then we would not be able to see them. That's what I don't know.
Or how much as you're looking up?
Some of that is dictated by geologic hazard and the site conditions. I'll let him add anything else.
Geologic hazard as well as operational constraints that we have on the system, on where the water's flowing in and where water's flowing out of the tanks. Our tanks, where the water's going out, it's going down the hill. There's a lot of variables that go into this, not just can we simply, have it. And essentially, yes.
And keep in mind that has been studied. We don't want to build a water tank that's very visible in your backyard. We know how this goes, right? We want to do what's right for our customers. We've learned some lessons, and there's just a lot of things providing input to that and how those decisions are made. So hillside overlay, wildland urban interface, geologic hazards, site conditions, vegetation. I mean, there's a million different types of things that come into that formula and how it gets, what the answer comes out.
Can you use some of that dirt to build a berm higher up?
We are.
So we will be placing, when the dam face will come down for doing construction, we are going to be putting most of that elevation back up, but we are limited to the amount of material we can put back on there based on the geologic area up there. The geotech engineer doesn't want to load that area with too much soil and then create another issue essentially.
Can I switch the subject a little bit? Marlin Road South is a very narrow road with some dead corners that are scary at best. It cannot handle two-way traffic. I want to walk out of this meeting with the assurance that you will not dump construction traffic on that road to include the big trucks and all of these guys in their pickup trucks going 50 miles an hour.
I just want to circle back. I know Kari had a few site-specific safety plan is how we use to mitigate those risks to you, the public, and to the employees that are working on behalf of Colorado Springs Utilities. So our site-specific safety plan, working with our contractor, will address how they get to the site and leave the site. In the event of an emergency, to your point earlier, they may actually shelter on site. It's going to be a pretty good area to sit around if there is a fire. We're not going to have the vegetation in the middle where those tanks are being built. In addition, that plan also addresses how the speed is for the site, and actually we hold our contractors to that. So that site-specific safety plan is a part of our project process. So we actually sit down with the contractor, we will take your input, and when we have those conversations with them, we will let them know, you need to manage your speed in this area, your limit is this. We also tie it into the City of Colorado Springs traffic control plan that they will approve for us of how we move equipment in and out of that site, as well as our employees. We want you to know that our contractor is an extension of Colorado Springs Utilities. So I expect a phone call from you. I know Patty expects a phone call from me. If our employees are not acting in the proper way, we'll deal with that appropriately. But more importantly, I want you to know that we address it up early with that site-specific safety plan.
Different question. My concern is you guys were focused on the traffic. I was more concerned about the trails, and because it's all around trails. So are you guys going to block trails? Are you guys going to close some?
No, based on where the site is and the access roads, We'll be going from road to the site directly, as if you were pulling into your own driveway.
Okay. Because I know there's a trail that kind of wraps around the trail. It's not a technical trail, but a lot of people walk it. And there's also an actual trail behind, closest to the west side, that people walk through, and I wouldn't want it to be closed or anything for sure.
If something occurs that does cause us to close that, usually it's a safety concern. We'll definitely notify everyone before that happens, and it's not intended to close for a very long period of time. It may be, for instance, if we have a crane coming on site and it's very close to the trail where they're traveling and it's a safety hazard, those are the types of situations where we want to, safety is a priority there. So, but to my knowledge, and I'm checking with Brian, there's no expected trail impacts.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I would hate for the trails to be closed for like 2 years, and that would just be unfortunate. But yeah.
That's unacceptable. Yeah, absolutely. I hear you.
Okay.
We love recreating in Colorado.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if nobody has direct questions they want to ask here, we'll go ahead and close this out. Our staff is going to hang by. If you have specific questions, we've got the renderings up there. You can talk to our staff. And we thank you for being here and your time. We'll have a survey afterwards. If you think we could have improved this meeting, please let me know of things that we could have done differently or something we didn't address. Happy to do that later on as we need to follow up. Okay? Appreciate your time, everybody. Have a good night.